I shouldn't be able to just make an apology video and walk away from it. This is something that I should live the rest of my life with, and I expect to.
They say I'm the GOAT, new drip, where's the lamb sauce? Flyer than a birdie, desert eagle in my track hook. I ain't Irish, but my money Dublin, grab a shamrock.
So, yesterday we got an update in the iDubbbz lore saga, and honestly this one is making a lot more sense to me. It may be because now when I look at this guy, I don't see him. I see someone who is more like him. Now, my last video on iDubbbz concluded my thoughts well. It's over, you know? This is not the same guy whose content I enjoyed. This video is easier to take in at face value now that the man I once looked forward to hearing from is dead. Last video on this topic, we mourned the old iDubbbz. So now, we can look at this guy and pretend he's brand new to YouTube and this is his first upload, with 7.5 million subs. Okay, that's basically stolen valor. I mean, half the people subbed basically fucking hate this guy now. Right, for me personally, looking at this dude, I probably wouldn't watch the videos, unless I'm making a video on it, like I am right now. So it's that simple for me, you know? I just don't watch, okay? I can leave it at that. I don't really have to sit here and mourn iDubbbz anymore. It's over. But some people are taking it a little bit harder than the others, you know?
Things will never be the same again.
Some people really are truly they're still mourning him, but I think that the last video we covered, right? His only other upload from the past fucking like 2 years, right? That video got the point across quite well, okay? He was done with the fans who liked him off of his old content, and it's that simple. Let's leave it at that, guys. So, let's get into new Ian's video.
And now we're riding with a technical Glock, came with a large attachment, real files, PDF.
Alright, so Ian starts off the video by calling the videos that he made in the past, specifically the Content Cop series, hateful, and described how he was responsible for his audience and how they harassed the targets of the videos.
No room for ambiguity. I am responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel. The content I'm talking about specifically are Content Cop videos and videos where I was just generally criticizing people for very lackluster reasons and, you know, obviously didn't have any accountability online whatsoever on my end.
Now, I think that's a pretty fair point that Ian definitely is responsible for his audience, but not the whole, like, not 100%. No one is. Never to the full extent, right? It only goes so far. I like Jadeon, but I think it's a lot more fair to say that he was a lot more responsible for the Pokimane hate raid than iDubbbz was for the hate that the targets of the Content Cop received. These were shitty people, okay? If anything, the hate they received was, for the most part, deserved. If it's not outright just fucking being an asshole and it's criticism, then why not? Why can't they express that? There was not one Content Cop video that called for targeted harassment. There was not one Content Cop that was unprovoked. And I don't think Ian ever directed any of the offensive things or slurs that he said at anyone who the word would be offensive to. I think it was all like just saying it, like in the Tana situation, for example, in that kind of context.
And, you know, I said a lot of things that I look back at and I cringe now, and I'm like, that is an awful thing to say. It doesn't matter what my intentions are. Like, if I'm hurting people, I'm hurting people. And, you know, who the fuck knows what my intentions are? Like,
Intention is extremely important when it comes to this gray area of jokes and edginess. And iDubbbz talks about this intention, but he, however, makes the claim intention doesn't matter, which is ridiculous. I would immediately disagree, okay? I would argue that if you use a slur with the sole intention of trying to get a laugh out of someone, it is arguably a lot different than directing the insult at someone with the intent of hurting their feelings or trying to offend them. But the weird thing is, right, that the way Ian talks about his intention is he like frames it in a way where his intent was to be racist.
No room for ambiguity. I am responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel, and I've also created a culture of apathy and I don't know, a lot of like cruelty as well.
And I mean, his videos were arguably political commentary to an extent, and at the very least social commentary on the state of YouTube and where it was when he made those videos. The intent was to contextualize and tell a story through video form. and Ian was good at it, okay? There's a reason almost his entire career was founded on the one series. During the whole video, he really harps on the racist and bigoted comments he would make, which doesn't really make sense. I mean, what the fuck does bigoted even mean? This whole thing feels like a safeguard just to protect him from future cancellation, but something tells me this just isn't over, you know what I mean? Unless his intent was to be racist, which regarding Tana obviously wasn't, right? One funny thing about the situation is that nobody was calling for iDubbbz to repent for his sins or apologize or anything like that. He is apologizing for things that literally no one asked him to, and he could have just came out and apologized to just those people he felt his community attacked and leave it at that. He mentions how he made a career off of hurting people, and he definitely made a career off of it, but to say it was made of hurting people is a stretch. If I recall correctly, these were all justified. Every video was justified. All these people were pieces of shit. He keeps going on and on about his self-guilt about the videos, and he does announce that he will be unlisting the videos, but there is a Google Doc right in the description where you could find all the content cop and stuff that he deems inappropriate. He doesn't want the videos floating around YouTube with the potential of harming more people. I know I said this isn't this guy, but man, what the fuck happened? I genuinely didn't think I could have imagined a universe where this was the outcome 3 years ago.
Whose feelings I, didn't take into consideration. Those are the people who I was addressing as, I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea. Anyone who thinks that I should be shouting the N-word from the rooftops, I don't want to be your cup of tea.
Claiming that any of his fans loved him because of his N-word usage is retarded, okay? Ian, you could have literally never said that shit again and no one would care. If anything, it might have made the videos even better. You could have focused on actual jokes instead of shock value racism, but hey, it was still funny.
Probably got bullied a little bit because he was a gay retard. I'm not calling you a gay retard. I'm not. Don't make me seem like I'm definitely not sexist or any of those things. But I was just going by the words I see you call yourself. I just want.
It never fucking ends with this guy. He gets on camera and calls me a gay retard.
Ian is out of touch with the audience that was once his own, and I think some of it may be a straw man. No Destiny shit or anything, but seems like a fake argument that'll be easier for him to defeat instead of actually addressing real criticism. Ian goes on and apologizes to all the victims of content cops, specifically Tana, who, if I remember correctly, was goofed on because of her own slur usage.
But she didn't use the N-word in the same way that I use it. She used it in a very mean-spirited way.
You know you're a stupid nigger, right? You fucking nigger!
He apologizes to all his minority viewers who had to watch, which honestly was the worst part of the apology. iDubbbz wasn't a racist person, and I'm not sure anyone really believed that he was, right? Racist and hurtful content that iDubbbz is talking about is what Nick Fuentes makes. You shitting on Jinx for stealing content, like literally stealing, that wasn't hateful. You calling out Tana for being an airhead wasn't offensive. It was rightfully deserved for all these people. One comment that really stood out to me under the video was saying that iDubbbz wasn't funny because he was offensive. He was just actually funny. This applies to a lot of creators from his times, especially Filthy Frank.
Also, calling me a weeaboo is a very bad idea because last time someone did that, I choked them unconscious and left them knocked out inside a dumpster I took a shit in. Whoa! This is a real human being! What a fucking legend! Oh! Oh! Oh!
And Ian just chose to lean into the shock humor during his reign, which is how he ended up with the Tana content cop. Ian talks about his videos like the focal point was solely slur usage and explicit racism, which some of them very well were. But this is why it's so strange to me, because no one was even calling for him to apologize. Now, let's be real here, the iDubbbz fanbase definitely had some pretty cringe individuals, okay? It was pretty bad for a while. Him not liking them, some of them, is pretty reasonable, and I imagine he had some wild interactions in person. The hate that he received after his wife made an OnlyFans is probably what really was a catalyst for this whole situation. That probably made him like completely convinced that everyone hates him, his audience hates him and whatnot, because that is kind of when the realization started settling in for most of the audience that things were changing and he wasn't really the guy that everybody thought he was. But we are in a new era of iDubbbz, new era of YouTube and everything, and I won't be watching from here on out, but overall this video honestly wasn't really bad. Good luck to Ian. I'm sure he has a fan base that does look forward to this new era. Now, I really don't know what they're looking forward to, because if I don't know what he's gonna do if he's not being funny anymore. And maybe he can still be funny, we will see. But he's lost a lot of people's respect from the way he's acted and conducted himself for over this whole situation involving Froggy Fresh and just everything that has occurred since his reign in 2016.
Hogwash, he ain't gonna step without his goons. Swashbuckle, and let the Jew on the canoe.
Alright guys, that's the daily internet mindless, dumb, fuck your brain, real life content for today, alright? See you next time.
The Marxists, the anarchists, the agitators, the looters, and people who, in many instances, have absolutely no clue what they are doing.